It's a definite pleasure and honor to be able to think of Swami, to be able to speak about Swami. It is his blessing that we get this yearning to speak about him or the yearning to listen about him. So this is a beautiful thing because out of the nine forms of devotion that Swami says, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam, the first three, which is listening, speaking, and thinking, all the three get combined in a satsang like this. So we are all definitely blessed to be part of this.
Sairam. And I'm so glad that you mentioned the nine forms of devotion because we've actually specially prepared for you nine questions, which we think will be very interesting for folks to hear your perspective on. So I'm just going to jump right in and let's see what you think. Our first question for you, Aravind, what would you say is the formula for success when building a relationship with God?
Building up a relationship with God, I think, is the greatest romance in one's life. It is the best and most beautiful relationship that we can ever build. And I think, in my limited opinion, that is the purpose of life. We, just like Swami would say about Lord Jesus, he would say that when he came, he first began by saying, I am the messenger of God. And then he said, I am the son of God. Finally, I and my father are one. So I think when we come as devotees of any God, including Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, the next stage is about building a relationship. For Jesus, it was he is his divine father's son. So any relationship, I mean, Swami, for me, Swami is my best friend. For some, Swami is the guru. For some, Swami is the father. For some, the mother. Whatever, For some, the beloved. Whatever it is, I think when we try to build a relationship with Swami, it is like any relationship. It requires time and energy. When I look back at my own childhood, friendships were so important. After parents, the next came friendships. Even in the early stage of our life, we build relationship with our parents. It's so beautiful. I remember watching this video wherein they asked a few adults, men and women, what their dream evening date would be, whom they would like to spend an evening with. And very interesting answers came up, ranging from sports personalities to entertainers to great visionaries to great political leaders, different people. Everybody said one evening, one dinner with them. That I think would be a great thing that would make me feel so wonderful. And in that same video, what they do next is go and ask the young children of these adults what their dream date would be. And without exception, each and every one of them say that my dream date is with my father or with my mother, parents. And then all these adults are teary eyed, they're so overwhelmed. They realize that they are the world for the children, That's how, as children, when we grow up, our parents are our heroes, they are our world, they're everything for us. But then it changes. And yes, it goes to friendships. And then we start looking out for life partners, spouse. But in each of these relationships, we invest so much of time and energy. And I think the same holds good when we are trying to build a relationship with God as well. We have to spend time and energy. Swami says, you take one step towards me, I'll take 100 towards you. That's the special bonus of this relationship with God. Whatever little effort we put in, it gets reciprocated 100 times, and that I can tell with complete conviction. But the point here is that one step has to be taken. We can't say that I'll just sit and God, you come to me. Have to be. There has to be that yearning, and there has to be that time and effort spent. And I've noticed that when it comes to Swami, once we start taking these initial steps, however serious or however casual we might be, Swami is always very serious, in the relationship. I remember an instance narrated by one of a senior brothers from the university. Swami used to speak with him. He used to speak to Swami, and it once you start speaking to Swami, Swami becomes like your everything. It's so beautiful. It's so fulfilling. It's so complete. Nothing else matters actually. Food, drink, sleep. It's so beautiful, this divine romance. So one of those moments, he just told Swami, Swami, you're my you're my father, you're my mother, you're my everything, Swami. I want only you. Swami just smiled and said, no, no, you're just saying this for the sake of saying. He said, no, Swami, you're my everything. I have no one other than you. You are my, that was what he proclaimed. And Swami smiled, patted him. Swami was happy. Then the interesting thing is, this continued. A few months later, this boy's parents, who were in another city, they came to Puttaparthi. And since Swami used to regularly speak to this boy, in hostel parlance, we used to call this as form. I think that term is borrowed from sports, whether it's soccer or cricket. When somebody is in form, they do everything perfectly. They even their apparent mistakes result in good things. It results in an amazing goal, even when they are not intending it possibly, because they're in such fine form. Same in any sport, basketball, football, soccer. Yeah. So he was in form at that time, and form also, I will not go into that now, but form is also given for a reason, for some time, for some people, all based on karma. But this boy was in good form, and so he thought, like everybody who does, that when my parents are here now, let me try to get an opportunity to get an interview with Swami. So when Swami came, Swami asked, how are you? He said, Swami, I'm very fine by your grace. My parents have come, Swami. It'll be nice if you speak to them. Suddenly, Swami's face expression changed, and Swami walked away. And this boy was perplexed. He was wondering, what did I say wrong? Did I say anything wrong? Or did I ask for something wrong? Swami's cold treatment continued for a while. And then one day this boy got up and said, Swami, please, why are you so upset with me? Don't do this, Swami. Please tell me what happened. And Swami says, you lied to me. Say, Swami, that day when I told you my parents had come, really they had come, Swami. I didn't lie to you. They had arrived to Prashant Nilayam, and I thought it would be nice if you speak to them. They will also be happy. I did not tell a lie. Swami said, no, you told me that I'm your everything. You said you have nobody else. And now you say they're your parents. After that, things normalized. But what a lesson. When we tell Swami, Swami, you're my best friend, whether we have told it with conviction or in emotion, Swami takes it seriously. When I tell Swami that I would like to spend my entire day with you, whether I see him or not, whether I believe it or not, even as I rise in the morning, he's by my bedside waiting for me and saying, hey, you wanted to spend the whole day with me, right? I'm here. Will you wish me a morning? Will you tell me Sai Ram in the morning? I just get up and maybe I forget. I go brush my teeth. I start getting ready. Swami's there waiting. As I sit for breakfast, Swami comes, sits and says, hey, you wanted to spend the entire day with me? I'm here. Will you think of me? Will you chant the Brahmarpanam? Will you offer food to me also? Many times I forget. He goes hungry, but he says, no, no problem. You wanted to be with me, I'll be with you. So that's one thing we have to remember when it comes to relationship with God. He is truth, Satya Sai. So whatever he says is truth, and therefore he assumes the same from every one of us as well. So when I tell him that I cannot spend a day without you, yes, he takes 100 steps towards, and I should not disappoint him. I should keep that in mind. It's not a casual relationship. It's not a fling. It's not a one-time affair. It's it's something for a lifetime, for lifetimes, and therefore, yeah, the short of it is that we need to invest time and energy in building up this relationship, and this is the only meaningful relationship, because all other relationships change across lifetimes. This is one constant throughout.
Sai Ram, that's beautiful. Yes. It's constant and it grows richer and richer. There's a lot of give and take, I think, certainly in the early stages as we learn just how much Baba is looking to build that relationship with us. And in that beginning process, and it grows and grows, discipline and personal spiritual practice come into play. The more we build that friendship, usually our personal spiritual practice grows along with it. What has Baba shared with you about the discipline aspect of building this relationship and the discipline of our personal spiritual practice?
Discipline is so important. You know, many times people have said that we are envious of the students. They get so much from Swami. Swami has himself said that 70% of my time is for the students. So even when I wasn't a student at the Sri Sathya Sai Higher Secondary School before I joined, I always used to wonder what is so special about these students? What is it that Swami gives so much time to them? You know, we would be, I'm sure you would have also experienced this. We would be seated much early, you know, struggling to get a front line. And we are waiting for Swami to come. And 5-10 minutes before Swami comes, there will be a thundering herd coming in. I used to look at these and now I understand why Swami calls students as Dunnapota or buffaloes, because at that time, that was the first imagery that came in my mind, that this is like a herd of wild buffaloes storming in a very peaceful grassland. Come thundering in, take all the front seats. And then Swami comes and speaks to them the most. And I used to say, Swami, we were here earlier. They just came in now. You don't know. They came in at the last minute and they've taken the front seats. So that was in fact the inspiration for me also to try to become a student. But when I think of it, when we join the hostel, and hostel life is compulsory when you join as a Sai student, it almost feels like for Swami more important than the college was the hostel. The hostel is so important. Swami has visited the hostel more number of times than visiting the college as well. Why? Because Swami would say here, the medium of instruction is discipline. It is through discipline that everything would be taught. And I think it is for whatever little discipline that these students or us students inculcated, that Swami would spend so much time. So discipline is so important. In fact, it is said that we are what we repeatedly do. Whatever we do repeatedly, we become that. Swami says, sow a thought, reap a tendency. Sow a tendency, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. So you see, this character is a critical connection link between our thoughts and our destiny. Our thoughts become our destiny through our character. And because, yes, what we repeatedly do, we become that. So discipline becomes so critical here. In fact, let me give my own personal example. As a student, we used to love to put up different programs and get these opportunities to speak or whatever in Bhagwan's presence. And I noticed that whenever you prepare to give a speech or do something as an individual, Swami will encourage you. But if you do something as a group, coming together, somehow that makes Swami more happy. If you go and say, Swami, I went and did service in 10 different places, Swami will be happy. But if you go and tell Swami, 10 of us came together and wholeheartedly did service in one place, Swami becomes more happy for some reason. Okay, so I am digressing there. But so we would like to put up so many programs in Swami's presence. And for each of these programs, we would have somebody scripting it, somebody acting it out. Different departments had to come together. Different skills and abilities had to come together to put up this cultural program in Swami's presence, physical presence. And possibly our batch was one of the first batches where Swami started giving multiple opportunities. In fact, in 1 year, we put up 20 programs in Swami's divine physical presence. And slowly, this is what became the precursor for devotees and people from all other countries of the world, all other states in India, coming up and regularly putting up a program. So much so that it, towards the final few years, it became such that if any group is coming to Prashanti Nilayam, they will come ready with a program to put up in Swami's presence. So we were blessed to be one of those early batches to get the opportunity to put up these programs. Why I'm saying this is, as we used to do this, my job was that of a coordinator. I would ensure that everything is happening on time. Is the script ready? And then if the script is too long, I used to sit and cut it, make it brief, because only 5 minutes allotted for this, 3 minutes for the dance, 2 minutes for the song. You have to do this time management. So I was more like a coordinator of the programs. When I see I have not participated and acted, I was not a brilliant actor. I was not anything this. I was a good coordinator, I would say. But then one day, this was sometime in 2016, one of the questions that I was asked after a talk is, how do you become a writer? And I wondered, why is it being asked of me? And I realized that people are considering me as a writer. And that day, it really set me thinking. I had never been a writer in my life. What happened was in 2011, when Swami left the physical, I felt such a void with him. And the sorrow, the sorrow is so immense, and I'm sure everyone understands the attachment that we have for that beautiful form. So the sorrow was so immense, and I didn't know how to fill that void, how to fill those gaping holes in my heart. I realized that when I went back to my past, I went back to my diaries. I had this habit of writing diaries. Anything related to Swami, I would note it down. I still have about 15 diaries with me. So when I would go read them and recollect, I decided to elaborate on what notes I had made in my diary. I began to pen them down as blogs, and that gave me great solace. You know, in a way, living in the past is useful when it's related to Swami, because Swami is beyond time. We are always told, don't live in the past, don't go to the future, live in the present. The present is the omnipresent. But then that rule has an exception, which is Swami, because Swami is beyond time. Swami is not of the past. Swami is not of the future. Swami is of all the three periods in time. And that is why it's not a problem if we go to the past when it comes to Swami. So I would revisit all these experiences and I would start writing. And every day I wrote 2000 to 3000 words every day. And then the world seemed to recognize me as a writer. And so that day when I was asked, how do you become a writer? I kept silent for almost 20-25 seconds, because I was wondering, how do I answer? What did I do to become a writer? And then the answer came, if you want to become a writer in a disciplined manner, write every day. That's all. You just write and you become a writer. You just play and you become a player. You keep cooking and you become a cook. That's it. We are what we repeatedly do. And that is the importance of discipline. If you want to be a true devotee, we just have to express our devotion regularly, every day. And devotion, Swami would say, bhakti. Bhakti is nothing but love for God. So devotion is love for God. We just express our love for God daily and we become devotees. That is the only way to become a devotee. And well, that is what is the importance of discipline.
Yes, it is. And as we build that relationship with discipline and devotion, we think often of happiness and how we can increase our happiness. And Baba has a beautiful quote where he says that the secret of happiness is not in doing what one likes, but in liking what one has to do. Whatever work you have to do, you should do it with pleasure and liking. Now, this approach is not actually as easy as it sounds. And I was wondering what you might advise devotees in the sort of who are looking to have a peaceful, happy life, bearing this quote in mind.
You know, it's such a beautiful question. Liking what one has to do over doing what one likes. Why is it important? And why can't we just do what we like. I mean, Swami, why do you make the rules of the game so complicated? Why can't I just do what I like and achieve what I need to? Why didn't you make the game like that? This question has arisen in me a couple of times, and the answer, though I have theoretically understood it, I say theoretically because if I have really understood it, then that's it, my life is done. If we understand even one teaching of Swami completely, we don't need anything else. But theoretical understanding helps. It has helped me, and that is what I will try to convey here. One of those discourses, we are blessed with something very beautiful. The Radio Sai app that is there, the discourse stream especially. Can you believe it? We, with the click of a finger, can tune into the divine voice of Bhagwan. Swami speaking to us. There are more than 800 to 900 discourses in which Swami has answered everything, available at a click of a button. We just have to click the discourse stream and it starts. And many times when I'm not feeling so good, I just do that. And I know for sure that somehow Swami answers me, and every time that is the answer. So one day when I click like this, I don't recollect which is the exact discourse, but Swami was saying, let me tell you the story of a boy. I thought, okay. And Swami said, this boy, he wanted to study and get good marks. So he kept praying to Swami, Swami, please give me good marks. Give me good marks. Let me get good marks. And Swami said, I blessed him. He got very good marks. But he wasn't happy. Very soon he came to me and said, Swami, by your grace, I got good marks, but what is the use of the marks if I don't get a good job? Please get me a good job. Let me get a good job. And Swami said, I blessed him. He got a good job. He was very happy. But that happiness lasted only for a little while. He soon came back and he said, I'm not getting a promotion in my job. Let me grow. I need to grow. If I don't grow, what is the use? I need to get a promotion. Swami, please get me a promotion. And Swami said, okay, I blessed him. And when I blessed him, he got a promotion. And now he was very happy. He was earning well. But then Swami says in that discourse that there was a receptionist in the office whom he liked, and he wanted to marry her. So he came to Swami and said, Swami, please, I think my joys will be complete if I marry her. You should ensure that I get married to her. Please, Swami. And Swami said, I blessed him. And he got married to her. Now he felt that his life was very complete. And Swami says that for a couple of years, he didn't come to me also. See, this is also something that happens. We forget God in times of happiness, and we think of him only when we are in difficulty. In fact, the great Saint Kabir Das says this very beautifully in a poem. He says, Dukh mein sumiran sab kare, sukh mein kare na koi. Meaning, in times of sadness, everybody thinks of you. In times of happiness, nobody thinks of you. Jo sukh mein sumiran kare, dukh kahe ko hoy. Meaning, if there is someone who thinks of you in times of happiness, will he or she ever have a sad time? That is the beautiful couplet, Doha by Kabir Das. So Swami said that this boy didn't come back at all for 2 years. And after that, he comes back and says, Swami, we have been trying to get a child. We have not had a child. Swami just bless us with one child and it will be so wonderful. Swami said, okay, I blessed him. He had a child. Again, after 2 years, he came and said, Swami, you want one more child? Swami, I want one more child. And Swami said, I blessed him. All this Swami is telling in the discourse. And then Swami says, after he got the second child, again, he didn't come to me for so many years. And when he came after 5 years, he came and said, Swami, life is so difficult. Swami, I don't want anything. Give me one small place in the ashram. I just want to stay here. And as Swami told and narrated this story, I was thinking, Swami, you might as well be telling my own story. And I'm sure everyone's story is this. It goes on and on. The reason why we can't do what we like is because we ourselves don't know what we like. We don't know what is it that gives us happiness. And that's why we keep asking, we keep changing. If we know for sure what is it that gives us happiness, and if we ask, Swami will give. Swami has granted so many of us, so many of our wishes, yet we aren't happy. We aren't happy at all. And that's why, Swami says in one of his discourses, Adugakue o manasa, meaning, oh mind, don't ask. Because who is the one who is liking and not liking? It's the mind. It's the mind. We are not the mind. We are not the body. The body being happy or the mind being happy doesn't make us happy, because we are not the body and mind. Swami knows this truth, and that's why he says, don't ask, because you'll never be fulfilled. You'll never feel peace. You'll never get happiness. You'll only have wasted your time and energy. Swami would in fact say emphatically, shut up. I will give you what you need. In fact, Swami also says, in the beginning, I give you what you seek, so that one day you will seek what I have come to give. Swami has come to give us the greatest. Swami would give us the example of how a man goes to a military hotel. Military hotel in these parts of South India are those hotels where only non-vegetarian food is served. And Swami says that this person goes to a military hotel and asks for idli sambar. Idli is a dish made from steamed rice flour. So Swami says, where he will not get it. The waiter laughs and says, are you a mad? Are you a madcap? Didn't you see the board outside which said military hotel? How then are you expecting to get vegetarian food here? Swami would say that when man comes to this world, there is a board that has been put up on this world, which says Anityam Asukham Loke, meaning this world is anityam, impermanent, asukham, filled with misery. A world which is impermanent and filled with misery, you come in that and seek happiness. How will you get it? You will not get it. Swami says that when you come and order for happiness here, the same question would be asked of you. Are you a madcap? Didn't you see the board outside which says this is anityam and asukham? Because happiness is only in union with God. And whether we know it or not, whether we believe it or not, Swami is all the time working to ensure that we get that union with God. When we look at the lives of great devotees, whom we consider as great devotees, in the yore and in the current times, be it Tyagaraja, Mirabai of yore, or whether it's Professor Kasturi, Mr. Jim Sinclair from the United States, they received so much from Swami that when we listen to their experiences, we envy them. We wish that we could be in their place. But then dig deeper, you will realize the number of difficulties and problems they have gone through, and we say, no, we don't want that life. Oh my goodness. Yet how they faced it. Because they were firm in their conviction that whatever Swami is doing is for the progress of my true self, not the body and the mind. And that is how they began to like whatever they had to do. They began to like whatever they had to go through. As I said, this is a theoretical understanding, but knowing this will help us. Liking what we do is when we follow the mind. It takes us astray because we are not the mind. But doing what we like comes from accepting and having faith that Swami knows what is best for me, and it will always turn out to ultimately lead us to true happiness, which comes only in union with God.
Sarah, that was a beautiful answer. I think the capacity of a devotee to remember God when he is happy speaks a lot to a devotee's character. And it's said that religion is 3/4 character. And could you share with us a little bit about, as Baba's spoken so much about character, what has Baba shared with you about character?
Well, I had not heard religion is 3/4 character, but yes, about character from Swami, so much, character is so important. Swami has said, if wealth is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. If character is lost, everything is lost. Swami would give the Chinna Katha, or the small story of Prahalada. Prahalada was the son of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was a demon. In fact, for those who aren't aware, it is to kill this demon that the Lord Vishnu took the avatar or form of Narasimha, man lion, he came and tore him apart. That's a story in itself. But though Prahalada was the son of a demon, see, all these stories, apart from being stories, are also very metaphorical. So Swami says Prahalada had love for God. And that love for God, Daiva Priti, Papa Bhiti, Sanganiti. Swami says, When you have love for God, there'll be papa bhiti, fear of sin. And that leads to sangha niti, which is morality in society. So if we want to have a moral and beautiful society, it starts with love for God. Swami says, have daiva priti, everything comes automatically. That is what Prahalada had. He had great love for God. Because of that, his character was impeccable. He automatically kept away from sin. So much so that though he comes in the lineage of the demons, he was a great ruler. And Swami says that he ruled wisely and well for so many years. One day, Swami narrates the story of how Lord Indra, Indra is a representative of the senses. And he's always insecure, if you see, in all the stories. He's always insecure of anybody becoming powerful, be it a demon or a sage. That's why he tries to disturb the penances of the demons and the sage. Very, very metaphorical and symbolic, because Indriyas, it is the senses. The senses always disturb the penance, whatever be the objective of the penance. So he comes and tells Prahalada, I am seeking something, can you give me? What is it you seek? I seek your character. And Prahalada says, yeah, take my character. And so Swami says a beautiful being emerged from Prahalada and went to Indra. But very soon, another beautiful being emerges and starts leaving. And he says, who are you? He says, I am righteousness. Why are you? Where are you going? He says, once there is no character, there can't be righteousness. I am leaving. And like that, after that, wealth, prosperity, good name, one by one, these beings start coming out saying that if wealth is not there and righteousness is not there, I mean, if character is not there and righteousness is not there, I can't be there. One by one, all of them leave. And by just losing character, Swami says, Prahlada loses everything. And that's when he decides to withdraw back, take back character from Indra and says, no, I can't give up my character. And once character comes, the Swami goes into detail to explain. That's another interesting thing. Swami, while narrating the story, will say that as character came back, then dharma came back, then wealth came back. And Swami again goes back, like, normal storytellers, when we want to keep the attention of the audience, we just skip through and say, yeah, vice versa, the reverse happened, right? But Swami goes through and repeats the same thing at the cost of being boring. I'm saying because for Swami, when he speaks to us, it's not about entertaining us. When I speak, I want to keep the audience entertained so that they listen to me. They give importance to me. Swami is beyond all that. He doesn't care for importance. That's why Swami would not try to make his discourses entertainment. Yes, Swami would tell a few stories, tell some jokes. He would keep us engrossed, but he didn't mince words when conveying the truth. He conveyed the unsullied truth straight, in the simple manner. Whether it is boring for us or not, he would repeatedly tell even the smallest of the children, you are God, you are divine. May not be entertaining, but that's not what Swami is here for. Swami is not here for entertaining us. So he would repeat. Why would he repeat this? Because he wanted it to get into our head. Lose character, you lose everything. Gain character, you gain everything. And that's why personally, what I feel, as we grow older, we start doing all these regular checkups. We do medical checkups. We check our own wealth. We check our investments to see how they are growing. We have periodical reviews and we rebalance our portfolios for wealth, which Swami says, if wealth is lost, nothing is lost. We have periodical checkups with health. We have insurance. This is for health. Of course, Swami says if health is lost, something is lost. Then shouldn't we have the same for character as well? And character is about loving God and fear of sin. Daiva priti, papa bhiti. And there is nobody else better than ourselves to do this audit. I might appear to be a great lover of God for others, but I know how much I love God. I can fool everybody, but I can't fool myself. So therefore, it has to be a self-audit when it comes to character. And just like we have regular checkups for our wealth and for health, we need to do it for our character. And yes, check for our love for God, fear of sin, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, kama, desire. Do I have a ceiling on my desires? Are my desires going through the roof? Krodha, anger. How angry do I get? How long does my anger last? Intensity and duration. Lobha, greed. Am I able to say enough? Do I overeat? Moha, attachment, infatuation, lust. We all experience it. And it's not like any of these are bad completely. Yes, it is built in to carry out life. We have lust towards our spouse. Yes, fine, but not towards anybody else. That is how it has to be in limits. That's why Swami would say everything within limits. This body is limited company, Swami would say. The greatest limited company. 98.6 degree Fahrenheit, your perfect temperature. Little higher, you have fever. Doesn't mean it has to come down. If it comes down also, it's bad. It has to be within the limits. So everything within limits. And this audit has to be done for all these kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. And we ensure that we have love for God, because character is of paramount importance. I don't know if I have exactly answered this question, but there is so much Swami says about character, and this is what came to me in my heart.
I think it was very nice. And I like the idea of auditing one's actions and thoughts and that self-evaluation. And when we do that, we think about, well, how was I with other people? And how would they have taken what I said and acted? And that leads us, when we think about other people, to being in good spiritual company, or what Baba calls satsang. What has Baba spoken to you about satsang, and what would you say its value is?
Oh, satsang is so critical. In fact, I go back to the same quote: we are what we repeatedly think, speak, and do. And we think, speak, and do depending on the company we keep. It is so simple. Swami would say, take a drop of milk and put it in a bucket of water. The milk loses its properties, it becomes water. Same way, take a drop of water and put it in a bucket of milk. The drop of water loses its property, it also becomes milk. Swami would say, elevate yourself in the company of good people. Satsangatve nissangatvam. Nissangatve nirmohatvam. Nirmohatve nischalatatvam. Nischalatatve jivan mukti. I mean, we can have an entire discourse on this theme itself. But Swami would say, satsanga leads to nissanga. Nissanga meaning devoid of any company. Solitude. We begin with loneliness, and that's why we seek company. But Swami would say, seek satsang. What is satsang? Sat means truth, and sang means company. So satsang means the company of truth, company of Satya Sai, company of anything related to Satya Sai. So that will lead us to solitude. Keeping the company of truth is the way to transform loneliness to solitude. Nissangatve nirmohatvam. That leads to nirmoha, meaning overcoming attachment and lust. Nirmohatve nischalatatvam. That leads us to being steady. Nischalatatve jivan mukti. Once you're steady, done, liberation. So it all begins with satsang. And when I say satsang, many times I used to wonder, Swami, if everyone runs away from bad company, how will the bad people transform? But, like they say, when we travel in an aircraft, if there's a drop in cabin pressure, oxygen mask will drop. Please wear your oxygen mask before trying to help others. Even they would say to the mothers, before helping your infant, you wear the mask yourself. Unless you are out of the water, you can't help somebody come out of the water. Unless Swami would say that in the initial years, when the sapling is planted, it needs to be protected from these grazing animals like goats and cows and all of these. You don't possibly see them much in advanced countries or in the United States of America. But in India, there are a lot of roadside domestic animals. So they put a fence around that. Swami would say that once that sapling grows and becomes a tree, it doesn't need a fence. And that tree will give shelter to the same goats and buffaloes and cows that it needed to be protected from. So in the initial stages, we have to actively seek good company and run away from bad company. Tyaja durjana samsargam, Swami would say, give up bad company. Bhaja sadhu samagamam, meaning seek good company, sadhus of the good people. Who are the good people? Very simple. Swami would say, a true friend is he who leads you towards God. Anything that makes us think more about Swami, anything that makes us feel more about Swami, all those are good company to keep. That brings me to the point that good company is not just about people, it's also about the thoughts. Because more than people, we keep company of our thoughts. Our mind is a non-stop machine going on and on and on and on. And therefore, the kind of thoughts we keep, that is the actual company. In fact, the kind of people we keep company with becomes important because they influence our thoughts, and the thoughts are the company that we keep always. That's why keep company of good people so that we get good thoughts. So therefore, thoughts are the company we keep always. And that is why Swami would recommend to us Namasmarana. Keep thinking of God so that in thoughts also we have Swami as our company. Any free time, go back to chanting the Namasmarana. Keep thinking of God, keep thinking of the form and the name. When you get bored of the form, think of the name. When you get bored of the name, think of the form. Keep alternating between these. And this is true satsanga, and it is so important. I cannot overemphasize the importance of good company, because we become what we repeatedly think, speak, and do.
I'm so glad that you brought up Namasmarana. It's one of my favorite forms of sadhana and so powerful in our own personal spiritual development. Of course, Namasmarana also helps us with faith. And I just wanted to change gears here a little bit and talk to you or ask you about building faith. And could you describe to us why having faith in God is actually the same thing as having faith in yourself?
One of my classmates narrated a very interesting story. This was a story that Swami narrated to them when Swami called them in for an interview when they were in grade 6 or 7, I don't remember. But just imagine, to sixth graders or seventh graders, Swami is telling this story. And Swami, when he tells the story, he builds it up according to the audience also. So all these children are seated there in the interview room, and Swami began to narrate the story. Swami said there was this little bird sitting on a huge tree in a forest, and it was chirping away merrily, very happy, when suddenly a thunderstorm began, and it began to pour heavily. There was lightning, there was thunder, so loud, such heavy rains, and the lightning struck the tree as well. And the rain was so heavy that the tree got uprooted. And that huge tree came crashing down. What happened to that little bird? What happened to that little bird? This was what was going on in the minds of all the little boys there. And Swami himself asked, what happened to that little bird? Swami, what happened, Swami? Swami said, nothing happened, because it just flew away. Oh, there was relief, there was joy, there was satisfaction. Okay, the story ended well. Then Swami went on to say, you should be like that little bird. Swami speaking to little boys and telling them to be like little bird. Why? Don't depend on the branch on which you are sitting. Don't depend on the world in which you are. Depend on your wings. And then Swami said, what are these wings? The wings of faith and self-confidence. Very interesting. The wings are the wings of faith and self-confidence. Faith alone is not enough. Self-confidence alone is not enough. Self-confidence alone possibly will lead to arrogance. Faith alone will lead to self-condemnation. Why both are important for a bird to fly? Because they are the same thing viewed in different ways. In physics, we learn, potential energy and kinetic energy. When a ball is kept on top of a slope, it is having a lot of potential energy. Just one small touch and it begins to roll because it had a lot of potential energy. As it rolls down the slope, it begins to gain kinetic energy as the potential energy gets reduced. By the time it reaches the bottom of the slope, let's take a U-shaped slope, like this. So as it reaches the bottom, it has no potential energy. But that entire potential energy has got converted to kinetic energy. And so because of that, it continues to go up the slope as well. And when it reaches to the top, the entire kinetic energy has now become potential energy again. And then this repeats. So, though we call it potential energy and kinetic energy, they are one and the same, it's energy. In the same way, Swami would explain this with the example of blowing a balloon. When we blow a balloon, there is air in the balloon, there is air outside the balloon. But it's no different, it's the same air. The air in the balloon is giving a shape to the balloon, and we think it's different, but it's the same. In the same way, I feel the air in the balloon is self-confidence. Self-confidence is the faith in God within us. And faith is the confidence in the Lord everywhere, the omnipresent Lord. So I think it's just different ways to denote the same thing, like potential energy, kinetic energy, faith and self-confidence. And therefore, even if one of them is lacking, it means it is not complete. We definitely need it. And this is the truth. This is the truth. If I say that I'm very self-confident, why do I need God? I don't need God. That's how asuras were born. That's how demons were born in the Indian scriptures, in the Bharatiya scriptures. Because they say, why do I need God? I can do everything. No. That's only one half. Self-confidence is only one half. At the same time, I don't know, I can't do anything, I'm useless. Only Swami. No, that's an insult, Swami would say. That's an insult you're doing to Swami within you. Swami is inside you. How can you say you can't do anything? You can do everything. There is neither pride nor is there self-condemnation. There is that calm, composed confidence because there is God outside, God within. That is the importance, and this is the truth, whether we believe it or not. It's like somebody said, I don't believe in gravity. Yes, you don't believe in gravity? Kindly step off the building then. Whether you believe in gravity or not, my dear sir, you're going to come crashing to the ground. In the same way, whether we believe it or not, when Swami says we are divine, we are divine. We are divine. I may say, I don't believe, you don't believe, but that doesn't change the truth. Just like gravity works on believers and non-believers alike, this truth works like that. And therefore, if I say, I don't think I can do it, I'm weak. That's what it becomes. It is like Vajra Sankalpa, because I am divine. I'm making a divine will that I am weak. Then how can I be strong? That's why it is needed. Self-confidence and faith. Both work together. If I have faith, I need to have self-confidence. Why? Suppose I say I have faith in Swami. I have faith. You have faith in Swami? Yes, I have faith. Then Swami says, you are divine. God is in you. Automatically, I should have self-confidence. So they go hand in hand. They're together. They're just different terms to denote the same thing, just like potential energy and kinetic energy are different terms to denote the same energy.
So when we understand that divinity is within us, it does give us wings. It gives us such joy. What do you think are the benefits that we receive when we understand that we are the Atma?
When you ask this question, I get a slight laughter because as humans, we always want what we call the Falashruti. Falashruti means, if I do this, what will I get? In fact, this has been built in all our stotrams. Suppose you take the Lingashtakam. Brahma Murari Surarchita Lingam Nirmala Bhashita Shobhita Lingam Janmaja Dukkha Vinashaka Lingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam. Excuse me for having sung it. It's so beautiful. But even this Lingashtakam, like every other Ashtakam, has a Falashruti which says, Lingashtakam idam punyam yappathe Shiva sannidho Shivalokam avapnoti Shivena sahamodate. Which means, if you chant this Lingashtakam regularly, you will attain Shivaloka, or the world of Lord Shiva. There is a incentive given in the end. You chant this, then you will get this. Because I think human nature, we are so associated with the mind, we just can't do anything without an incentive. And I think that's why we also feel this question. Yeah, if I realize I am the Atman and become one with the divine. What are the benefits of doing that? That's how it comes as well. I remember on one occasion I was giving a talk on selflessness. How we should be selfless, because that's what Swami tells us. Then somebody asked, if I start practicing selflessness, will I achieve peace and happiness? I again smiled at that moment, because I realized that if I truly achieve selflessness, this question won't come at all. What am I going to benefit from this will not come at all, because there'll be no mine, there'll be no thine. There is no separation at all. There's only oneness. I remember a book called 1 Minute Wisdom or 1 Minute Nonsense. Something it was called like this, because apparently it is nonsense, but it makes a lot of sense. In that there was this story of a master who would send his disciple away. He would say, you go and do penance once you're ready, I will let you know. And this disciple goes away and is doing penance. And every year, to check on the progress, the master sends another disciple to go and ask him what progress he has made. And every time that disciple comes, this disciple says, this time, this 1 year when I've done penance, I felt very light in the heart. I felt this, I did that, this. And so he gives the update, and the disciple comes back and updates the master that this is what he has felt, this is the progress that he has reported. And the master says, no, he's not ready. And this goes on year after year. The disciple is making more and more progress. The master says, no, he's not ready. Finally, 1 year, when this disciple goes to receive the update, the master is asking for updates. The disciple just looks at him and says, who cares? Why do I care? I mean, there's nothing to update. I just don't care. And then the master says, he's now ready. He's got it. When we achieve that, it doesn't matter at all, because we realize, again, I'm speaking all this theoretically, but I can only imagine and think that once that is achieved, there'll be nothing at all. There's nothing else to be achieved. In fact, Swami says, in the beginning, there was nothing. There was only me. I separated myself from myself to love myself. Because, in that oneness, I think there is nothing. Maybe the Lord also got bored and decided, no, let me separate myself from myself so that I can experience this love, this relationship. So I think that is the cycle of life. Separating myself from myself so that I can love myself, and then love myself so intensely that I become one again. The cycle of Advaita and Dvaita, the cycle of separation and oneness. It's just a game that's going on. So I think once we know that we are the Atma, I think that's it. It's done. There is nothing left. In fact, in conversations with Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba, Hislop records, he asked this precise question. King Janaka was called a Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta is one who had realized that oneness with Atma even in the physical body. And he asks what happens, and Swami describes. Swami says they lose interest in everything because there's nothing that needs to be done. They stop even eating. And Swami says unless they are fed by somebody else, they don't eat. They don't care about body getting diseased or degenerated, nothing. Not that they don't care. They no longer associate with that. What is it? I am the entire thing. I am the doctor. I am the tree. I am the building. I am the laptop. I am everything. What do we care for our body because I think this is my body, the feeling of I and mine is there. When that is gone, nothing exists. In fact, Swami says if there's nobody else to take care of that body, in 21 days, the body leaves because there is nothing left. There is no reason why it is done. And in fact, when I think of this, I get emotional. This is the reason we should be so grateful to Swami. Because when there is no desire for anything, for the sake of our uplift, for the sake that we grow, that Lord took on these desires, came. He took on those desires and came so that we may benefit. That's all. Otherwise, why should he take on the limitations of a human body and a human mind? So that we can associate with him, so that we build a relationship with him, so that we evolve and grow. And then, become one with him. So, well, that's my answer for what happens when we realize our oneness with the Atma.
I love it. That's a great answer. So let's talk a little bit about evolving and growing. And Baba has given us the Gayatri mantra as a very important tool. So if the goal of life is to reach God, how does chanting the Gayatri help us get to that goal?
This part, I don't have a theoretical answer much, but I'll share a practical answer. When it comes to practicing the Gayatri mantra, the only reason I keep chanting the Gayatri, whether it is Bhur Bhuva Swaha or my favorite, which is the Sai Gayatri, I do it because Swami gave importance to it. Among all the mantras, Swami gave importance to the Gayatri mantra, and that's the reason I keep chanting it. And it's my faith that I chant it. And what has been my experience? I have experienced that if I'm able to remember the Gayatri mantra, whenever I'm able to do it, it helps me remain equanimous. It helps me keep equipoise. It ensures that I don't get too excited and go fly in the skies when something good happens, or get depressed and frustrated and angry and sad when something not so good happens. It helps me keep myself grounded and keep calm. That has been my personal experience, and I constantly keep chanting. Anytime I remember, I start chanting it, whether I'm riding my bike, whether I'm walking, whether I'm trying to have a bath, whatever I'm doing. Whenever I remember, I try to keep chanting it. That has been my experience, and I feel that's very useful because ultimately life is about becoming equanimous. Sukha dukkhe same kritva. Being equanimous in times of sukha, happiness, and dukkha, sorrow. In fact, this year we'll be celebrating the 96th birthday of Bhagwan. And it's very, very significant because this is the year when Swami had said that he would be leaving. It would be complete. And I was wondering, these are just my thoughts. I was just wondering why 96, Swami? Why did he choose that? Of course, it has happened 2011. Swami left the physical, but whenever Swami spoke, Swami said about 96, and I was wondering why did he pick 96? Interestingly, this is a number. 96 is a number which remains the same even if you turn it upside down. 9 6. Just turn it upside down, it remains same, 9 6. And I think metaphorically, that shows that the journey is complete, the avatarhood is complete when we reach a situation such that when we are turned upside down, we remain the same. That I felt was the message of the 96th birthday and the 96th year. And definitely chanting the Gayatri helps us move towards that equanimity, helps us move towards that equilibrium. And I think that's why it's so important.
Chanting and that discipline to chant the Gayatri whenever you can at any moment is such a beautiful discipline, and it's such a powerful prayer. In fact, prayer is such a big part of our sadhana, and sometimes we may feel that we don't always get the answers that we're looking for, and sometimes an answer may come just at the right time. What are your experiences with prayer and talking to Baba that way?
The mistake that I always made, and sometimes I continue to make with regards to prayer, is I think of prayer as asking God for something. I think prayer is when I say, Swami, give this to me, Swami, give that to me. And sometimes he gives, sometimes he doesn't give. And I try to come up with a theory or a formula to explain when are the times that God grants your prayers, when are the time he doesn't grant prayers. I think it comes from my basic mistake in assuming that prayer is asking God for something. I remember a story I had read about how a man goes to heaven and he's shown the different departments, 3 different departments when it comes to prayers. One is the prayer receiving department, which is always working overtime. The other is the prayer processing department, and that department is working normally, not overtime. So it's understood that not all prayers are being processed. But then there's a third department where everyone is on leave most of the time, because that is the prayer acknowledgement department, where gratitude that has been expressed for wishes granted is received. Again, as I said, we often forget to thank God for all the things that he has granted to us. Even if we consider prayer as asking only, So many things that we have asked and it has been granted. We never spend time thinking of that and expressing gratitude for the same. Instead, we keep thinking of things that we haven't got. And that's the reason we also get disappointed. Helen Keller was born deaf and blind. Just imagine, you're born deaf and blind, you can't even speak because you can't learn speech. You can't see the lip movement, you can't hear the sounds. So therefore, 3 out of her 5 perceptions were gone. She could only taste and feel. And yet, go to YouTube, there is a video of her speaking. She picked up how to speak. Phenomenal. What she said is, I don't have time to complain in my life because I don't get enough time to express my gratitude for things that I have. I think if Helen Keller could say that, most of us are in a much, much better situation to express our gratitude. And I think even if we consider prayer as asking for Swami, let us ask. But before we ask, let us acknowledge and express gratitude for things that we have received. But what is prayer? Prayer is about just being with God. That's all. Now imagine 2 farmers are there. There is a farmer who says to God, God, please let it rain today because I'm planning to plant my seeds. And there's another farmer who's saying, Lord, let it not rain today because I'm planning the wedding of my daughter. Whose prayer will God listen to? I don't know. It might rain or it might not rain. And depending on what happens, one farmer thinks that his prayer got answered. The other farmer will look up and tell God, you did exactly the opposite of what I asked you to. But God just made it rain. I feel prayer is about being in sync with God. When we are in sync with God, we automatically desire what the Lord desires. And in those times, all our prayers get answered. All our prayers get answered because we are in sync with God. So I think prayer is about being in sync with God. That's all. Spending time with Him, making efforts to keep aside some time, building that relationship. In the initial stages of every relationship, time and effort has to be spent in building it. And later on, that relationships become so beautiful that even if we don't see each other for a couple of years, that bonding, that love is the same, it gets rekindled. That's what happens with us in our relationship with God as well across lifetimes. That's why some of us, even as children, have that strong yearning for God. And we wonder, why was God partial to them? As a child, only he or she was given so much love for God, but I wasn't given. Because it's not about this one life, it's across lifetimes. And when we are developing such a long standing relationship, I think we should also redefine the meaning of prayer, where it's about just being in sync with Him, being with God. That's all. Not asking nothing. Let us just have a conversation with God daily. Let us tell Him how our day was. Yeah, we can complain. We can ask. I'm not saying you're not allowed to ask. You're not allowed to complain. But it's just like how we would talk with a very, 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 very dear friend, someone who's very close to us. It would not always be about asking. It would be about acknowledging. It would be about sharing love. It would be about sharing everything. When we do that with God, I think that is what becomes prayer. So that's it. So let us I pray, I pray, this is what I'm asking you, Swami. I pray that we understand the true meaning of prayer and be in sync with you.
Sairam, that was absolutely beautiful. Gratitude is such an important part of our first steps in our spiritual journeys. And we are, of course, so very grateful to you, Aravind, for joining us on this special day. To wrap up your talk with Region 8, are there any final thoughts that you would like to leave us, the devotees of Region 8 and the world watching?
Well, whether it's the devotees of Region 8 or any other region, I think we should recognize what a blessing it is to have been born at a period of time when the avatar graced the earth, and more importantly, having come to know of Swami. All of us, I'm sure, are doing amazing seva, amazing work, different things. We are so serious about Swami's teachings we want to inculcate. But as the questions during this session were asked, there will be times when we see that things don't seem to be manifesting. Like, we put so much of good effort and it seems to be leading to more disintegration. In fact, just yesterday when I was listening to a discourse, it was a Krishna Janmashtami discourse, I think 1978. I don't know exactly, but in that discourse, Swami himself asked this question. Swami said, see, it is said that there is Satya Yuga, which is the golden age, then Treta Yuga, which Rama came in, then Dwapara Yuga, then Kali Yuga. And each Yuga proportionally becomes worse and worse. And that is why Swami says, Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. That is, in order to establish Dharma, God keeps coming again and again. And Swami is saying, then Rama came in Treta Yuga. Why did it degenerate into Dwapara Yuga? Then Krishna came in Dwapara Yuga. Why did it degenerate into Kali Yuga? And Swami has come in the Kali Yuga. And Swami, after you left, things have gotten worse, Swami. Why? What is it? Swami would say, what is the Dharma? Swami asked in the discourse. Just yesterday night I heard it. Yesterday night meaning, yeah. Swami is asking, what is the Dharma that the Lord is bringing up? Swami said, that is the Dharma, the Prema Dharma. Swami would say the Hridaya Dharma. God comes to establish himself in the heart. That's all. In the hearts of people. Forget how the world is. The world will always be like that. But do people love Rama? Yes. Do people love Krishna? Yes. Do people love Swami? Yes. Swami, I'm so grateful you came, and even though you have left, Swami, physically, you have not left here. Isn't that the reason why we get tears in our eyes? Because physically you're gone, Swami, but from here you have not gone. I miss seeing your beautiful form. And when we shed these tears, dear brothers and sisters, it's so beautiful. It's wonderful. Nothing to be ashamed about. Nothing to feel sad about. It's beautiful. Because that is the Dharma that Swami has established. If Swami had not come, this would not have happened at all. It is something to celebrate. It's something to feel wonderful about. So let us not get carried away by what's happening in the external world. Let's not get carried away by what people are criticizing or people are saying. Because Swami would himself say in another discourse, Swami said, people criticize. In fact, to one of the youth members, one brother from Hyderabad, Swami told him, he was criticized so badly. He was doing everything with a true intention. See, ultimately we have to be true to ourselves, because that is where we are accountable to Swami. He was doing everything true to himself, but it was all being misread. And he was criticized. He came to Swami and said, Swami, I don't want to do anything. Why? Swami, everything is being taken in the wrong light. I'm being criticized. Swami said, see, from the tip of my hair to the tip of my toe, I'm selflessness. Even I'm criticized. Do you think you will be spared? Don't let that discourage you. Keep Swami in your heart and go on. I think that is our mantra. We are here for Swami. And yes, whatever is happening in the world is left to Swami. He will do that. But when we ask ourselves in the evening, when I'm at the end of the day, when I look at myself in the mirror, when I see into my eyes, I should be able to tell Swami, I've done my best and you know it. And that's all Swami is seeking. And let's grow towards that. In another discourse about criticism, Swami would say, what should you do when people criticize? And Swami said, if somebody calls me Battatala Sai Baba meaning bald-headed Satya Sai Baba. Swami would say, if somebody calls me bald-headed, I won't bother because I know it is not the truth. And Swami then said, but sometimes if people call me Buttatala Sai Baba, meaning basket-headed Satya Sai Baba, Swami would say, that's fine because that's how I am. So either what they're saying is true or not true. If it's not true, I won't get agitated because it's not true. If it is true, I won't get agitated because it is true. So how does it matter? So Swami would say, either case when somebody criticizes, if it's true, either it is true or it is not true. In either case, there is no need to be agitated. Of course, if somebody is criticizing something and it is true and it is something we don't like, then Swami would say, then you should be grateful to those who criticized, because they're exposing your flaws and giving you the opportunity to correct it. So correct it. But if they're criticizing something that you feel it is good, then no problem, so be it. In any of the three cases, it's not a cause for being agitated. So I think, I don't know how this, you asked a question spontaneously, and this is what spontaneously came in our heart. Let us ultimately be true to Swami in our hearts. Let us do everything to make him happy. Let us ensure that every night as I go to bed and I think of Swami, he should come and tell, Bangaru, I'm very happy with what you did. That's all that matters in life. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.